Well, hello, welcome to a reading through of Iliad Book 9. And as usual, I'm just going to read through and translate from the Greek. A few comments here and there, nothing original. Drawn very heavily on various commentaries, but in particular the lovely commentary by Jasper Griffin from 2004. Just some various comments and things that I'll make along the way. Book 9 is generally regarded as a fairly pivotal book in the saga of the Iliad. Because Achilles, who was the subject, of course, of Book 1, has essentially disappeared in the intervening books and now is reintroduced to the stage, as it were. More importantly, this book turns the Iliad from just being a recitation of set-piece traditional story into a moving tragedy. Achilles in this book shows in his long and emotional speech that he has no intention whatever of coming back to the fight, even if Agamemnon offered him all the treasures of the world. He takes a very extreme position, very different from the heroic protocol, and thus begins the unfolding of the tragedy that is to come. Now, Book 9 also contains several serious problems we'll come to as we read through it. The main one concerns the use of the dual rather than the plural in the so-called embassy to Achilles. There have been many theories put forward about this to try and explain it. I'll leave the commentators to go through all that. The problem being that the dual is used when in fact there is Ajax and Odysseus and Phoenix present. And Phoenix needs to be there for the next part of the story. So perhaps the truth lies in the supposition that the Iliad is a poem which, while put together by one great poet, drew heavily on earlier stories and myths. Thus, in some earlier form, the embassy story may have consisted just of Odysseus and Ajax, and that Phoenix was a later addition in order to continue the story on into the rest of the book. It seems to me that the long sections on the allegory of the prayers and the story of Meleager perhaps are also later additions, or perhaps earlier sub-myths which have been incorporated into the story by the skillful poet. So in the first 28 lines, we have Agamemnon calls an assembly of the Greeks and advises them to return home. There was a similar Trojan council back in Book 8, and this is a counterpart to this. So it begins, Hos hoimen troes phulakas ekon. So thus the Trojans, ekon for Acon, as often, phulake, probably a watch here, they kept watch, arter, strong but, a thespesiae fusda, a divine, fusda, interesting word, it means fear, probably best translated it as fear, and because we'll keep the panic for the phobos. But a divine fear held the Achaeans, and Fuzza, she is the female companion of cold, rout, or panic. And Pantes Aristoi, the very best men, the very best heroes, Bevole Arto, this is this third person, this alpha's this sonant N, this is a third person plural, so you get used to that in Homer. You'll see a similar thing in Herodotus. So all of the heroes had been smitten with unbearable grief, alpha privative plus the tulao to endure, unendurable grief. Now of course we can't get very far in Homer without a simile. So as the two winds, this is a jewel from Arena, they stir up the fishy sea. Boreas and Zephyrus, and we get a duel here, and the two of them, Ayrton is duel, present duel from Amy to blow. They blow, and there's the old thin ending from Thrace. Coming, now there's an epsilon elided here because it's a duel, so coming ex apinas, suddenly. And the black wave, mood is the word meaning together, and we have this funny verb here, korthuomai, or sorry, korthuo. It means to be gathered into a crest. It's cognate with the word for a crest, so gathered into a crest. So the darkened water, the black water, is gathered together in crests. It's one way of translating it. And it pours forth. Polon phukos, I think, goes together. Phukos is seaweed. So, and then parex, combination of para plus x plus the accusative, out along. So it pours out along the sea much seaweed. So far out along the shore, literally the sea. So it, the subject of it is kuma, the wave. It scatters, and we get a, this is an aorist, but it's a nomic aorist here. So it scatters the seaweed. On the image here, Leaf and Bayfield say the idea seems to be that of a sudden chopping squall, which the poet regards as two winds blowing at the same time. And these two competing winds are going to be in an analogy with the competing thoughts in Agamemnon's mind. We have some nice alliteration here too. We have kuma, kelainon, ku, korthuetai, which is nice. Homer likes alliteration. And so thus the soul of the Achaeans was divided in their breasts. Dative plural from Sterthos. But the son of Atreus, and now we get this, the same verb we had earlier up here, and now we get it as a participle. So the son of Atreus was smitten in his heart with great akos, with great vexation, great pain. And now foita, this is a verb from foitao, so he was going around Keleuon, giving orders to the shrill-voiced heralds, keruks, kiklaskain, to call to assembly each man. Kleidane, it's one of those funny adverbs ending in dane. It means sort of individually or by name. So he's giving orders to the shrill-voiced heralds to call, infinitive here. This is it's cognate with kaleo, as this is as well, but the verb is kekleisko. It's a reduplicated present formed from that same root, I think. So to call each man to assembly, kleidane, to call them by name. Probably this is meant to be done so the enemy doesn't hear that they're having an assembly, because they don't get a bit suspicious as to what's going on. And nor, ba'an, infinitive, nor to cry out aloud, so not to call them out aloud. But he himself, ponerto, imperfect, was busy among the leaders, among the first men. But they were sitting, tito eotes, interesting word, only appears in the perfect. This is the participle here, of course. The verb only occurs in the perfect, and of course originally the perfect tense was denoted a state, often had a present temporal aspect in Homer. Later on it takes this past tense sense in later Greek, but Homer's always a great source of earlier forms and earlier ideas and grammar. So here it's probably translated as distressed or dispirited. So they were sitting in the market, in the agora, in the marketplace, or in the place of gathering, dispirited or distressed, in a state of distress almost. Un is for Anna, and goes with the histato down on the next line here. So, but Agamemnon stood up, pouring a tear, like to a stream, a black-watered stream, a crane, which, and then it continues the simile, so which pours down gnopheron, something like murky water, so which pours down muddy, or perhaps murky is better, murky water down the smooth, I think, or sheer rock. This is a very old adjective, and the etymology's unsure. It's only ever used of water, so it's sheer water falling down. So which pours down murky water from the sheer rock. Thus did he, groaning deeply, address words to the Argives. So Agamemnon's not in a good state. O Philoi, O my friends, leaders and rulers of the Argives. Zeus, the son of Kronos, and we get endeo, literally has bound me, and the mega is adverbial here, greatly, with a harsh ate. Ate, interesting word, it's sort of hard to translate sometimes. It means a sort of destructive destruction, with harsh destruction or harsh destructive fate. Sketlios, well, the perverse one, often translated as, I always think in sort of Aussie English, the bastard. So Zeus, the son of Kronos, has bound me greatly with deep or harsh destruction, the bastard, who once promised, at that time, that's before, so but we would say once, he promised to me, now we get a men, which will be balanced on the next couple of lines down, who on the one hand at that time promised and nodded agreement, kata nuo, literally he nodded down, that is to agree, that having, this is from Pertho, having sacked Ilium with its beautiful walls, apo neesthai, and this will be a future here, I think, after verbs of promising. So he promised that after I'd sacked Troy with its beautiful walls, that I would return home. Now there's the balancing debt with the men, but now he counsels, well, he plans or plots perhaps evil deceit, wicked deceit, apate, very strong word in Greek, and he bids me to go to, bids me, dus clear, well, with a bad reputation, he bids me to go to Argos. So I think one translator rendered this as with my reputation in tatters. Since I have lost much host, I've lost a great host of people with all the killings and the murder and fighting and so on. So now he bids me with my reputation in tatters to go back to Argos, since I have lost much of the host. Hutupu di mele, thus perchance, sort of a way of saying I suppose. So thus I suppose it is literally, it is wont to be dear, so it must be pleasing to Zeus, who is all-powerful, Hypomene, with excessively strong Zeus. So all-powerful Zeus. So something like, I suppose that this is likely to be a dear thing to all-powerful Zeus. Very sarcastic line. Hos de polaon polion katanusi karena. This is the word connected with kara, head. It's literally the heads of many cities. And Homer uses this expression, this word, to refer to the towers and walls, the high parts of the cities. And kataluo, he has destroyed. So who in fact has destroyed the towers and walls of many cities. And now we just get the simple verb here, but it's just the same meaning here. And he will still also destroy them. So he's done it in the past and he'll continue to do it. For the Kratos, the strength of him, so his strength is Megiston, is the greatest. Al ageth, but come, so that I might speak, and hortatory subjunctive, let everyone obey, let us all obey. Pheugomen, again another hortatory subjunctive, let us flee into our dear ancestral land with the ships. Uga eti Troian hyresomen Huraguian, for no longer will we take Troy with its wide streets. We will no longer take Troy with its wide streets. So there is the first section of the book. So this is now the story then that Agamemnon is called an assembly and he's telling them we're going to give up and return home. Now of course that cannot happen, and in the next section we'll see that Diomedes objects to the proposal, and we'll do that in the next recording.